This country's economic era may have finally come amid generations of hype. Its economy grew at the highest rate in Asia last year, 8% growth, and it happened to be one of the few in the world to experience growth for 2 years straight following the COVID-19 outbreak. It is Vietnam that we're talking about. By the way, you can do a pretty cool Vietnam just by bending a paperclip. You will see why in a bit. If you have the chance to keep up with the headlines, you may wonder why Vietnam's economy is doing so well and why. It's becoming a focus for international investments as well. Knowing the elements that contribute to Vietnam's economy being among those whose economies are consistently growing and recovering makes the solution simple. So, let's find out. Remember the cute little Vietnam that is made using a paperclip? It's an S-shaped nation that stretches from China's southern frontier all the way down to the mouth of the powerful Mekong and has a total size of 127,880 square miles. This is Skinny Vietnam. Although the nation has no recognized nickname, some individuals have compared it to a dragon because of its form. Look at the picture. Isn't it a skinny dragon? The residents are accepting the country's nickname because the mythological animal is connected to the origin narrative of the Vietnamese people. Vietnam's borders with Cambodia and Laos are to the west, and China borders the country to the north. The East Sea, sometimes referred to as the South China Sea, runs along the country's eastern and southern borders. Vietnam's northern and southern halves have drastically varied temperatures. It's like the two sides of the globe are combined in one country. Although they might not be as different as North American seasons, people in Hanoi and the surrounding region don't really get bored as they experience 4 different seasons every year. Up north, there are a couple of months of pleasant weather on each side. This region of the nation has temperature swings from a crisp 50 degrees Fahrenheit in January to a sweltering 100 degrees Fahrenheit in July and August. It's like going from a freezer to an oven. Pack warm clothes if you plan to visit in the winter, and don't forget ice packs if in the summer. The population of Vietnam increased quickly in the 10 years that followed its reunification in 1975. In the 1980s, around 2/5 of people were below the age of 15, yet birth rates started to fall at the end of the decade, and over the next 20 years, they went from being much over to well below the global norm. During that time, life expectancy rose by over 15 years at the same time. As a result, Vietnam's population median age never stops to be continuously increasing. Such great news. Such a successful development story. Vietnam is a prime example of successful continuous growth. It's like a never-ending parade. In just one generation, Vietnam went straight from being one of the world's poorest countries to having a middle-income economy thanks to its economic improvements and positive global development. GDP per capita climbed 3.6 times from 2002 to 2022, hitting about $3,700. From 14% in 2010 to 3.8% in 2020, poverty rates decreased substantially. Over the course of the last 3 decades, the agriculture industry has promoted economic growth and guaranteed food security by expanding by 2.5 to 3.5% annually. In 2021, it made for 29% of jobs and 13% of the GDP. How powerful is that? As standards of living have increased, health effects have gotten better as well. From 32.6 per 1,000 live births in 1993 to 16.7 in 2020, infant mortality percentages decreased. Between 1990 and 2020, life expectancy increased from 70.5 to 75.5 years. Vietnam has an index of universal health coverage of 73, which is higher than the norm for the area and the world. Infrastructure services are now much more readily available. In 1993, just 14% of people utilized electricity as their primary source of lighting. By 2019, 99.4% of people did so. How wonderful is it to go from using candles to lamps? The percentage of rural residents who have accessibility to clean water has increased as well, rising from 17% in 1993 to 51% in 2020. Vietnam's growth goals have gotten more audacious, with the goal of turning the nation into a high-income nation by 2045. Vietnam also wants to expand in an increasingly inclusive and environmentally friendly manner. To that end, it has pledged to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050, stop deforestation by 2030, and reduce methane emissions by 30%. Such utopia, right? I mean, nothing seems to be going wrong here. Wait, more surprises ahead. The manufacturing sector is booming. Now guess what? Samsung has opened its largest research and development facility in Southeast Asia at the end of the previous year with a projected $220 million cost, and that is in Hanoi, the capital of this amazing country. The massive South Korean electronics company, which has been producing goods in Vietnam since 2008, just completed its most recent investment. Samsung is anticipated to invest considerably more this year, having already invested roughly $18 billion since then. Samsung's supplier list 2020, that contains information on 80% of the company's manufactured items, shows that the electronics titan had 28 plants spread across 11 provinces in Vietnam that produced electronics. With 25 industries, the majority was located in the northern region of Vietnam. Southern Vietnam was home to the final 3. You must be wondering, why Vietnam in particular? First, Vietnam appeals to electronics firms such as Samsung as a viable substitute for China. Who would eat chicken when pizza is on the table? There are certain benefits that the north of Vietnam has that rarely other places can offer. The most important one is that because of its closeness to China, firms may more easily incorporate the areas into their current supply networks. Second, located around 100 kilometers east of Hanoi, Hai Phong is home to the biggest deep water port in northern Vietnam. Additionally, there are intentions to enlarge this port even more to handle ships with a deadweight capacity of 100,000. Moreover, the port has rail and road connections to neighbouring provinces. As a result, Samsung has been able to establish suppliers in further northern Vietnamese regions. Third, Vietnam is also a great place to find highly trained workers at a reasonable cost. Who could say no to that? For many years, northern Vietnam in particular has been a centre for the production of electronics, which has enabled people to advance their skill sets. Vietnam's second largest population centre, Hanoi, is situated in the country's north. Workers in Hanoi may enjoy a good standard of living inside its boundaries and commute to factories outside of it because of the city's full range of utilities. Isn't it a piece of paradise on earth? It is Vietnam's moment. Now, let's move backwards a bit and see what makes Vietnam a great masterpiece. How such a chaotic canvas could create a beautiful picture. Its communist government has been in charge of guiding the country's economic shift from a planned economy to one that is more free and capitalist since the late 1980s. It's like a Bollywood movie, full of drama and twists and turns, but it managed to come out on top in the end. Since then, everything has changed for neighbour business partners. It's like a child entering a candy store for the first time. Manufacturers have been drawn to the region by its closeness to China and large pool of inexpensive, highly educated and youthful labour. I mean, who can resist that? The phrase "made in Vietnam" is becoming more and more connected with upscale devices like Apple's AirPods, even though it was originally only used to describe clothing like Nike sneakers. As China's competitive edge as a business location is eroded by escalating costs of labour and political uncertainties, businesses have seized the chance to expand their supply chains. Vietnam must be so happy right now. FDI of over $20 billion came in last year, mostly from China, Singapore, and Japan. Since US-China trade disputes started to escalate in 2018, the US's proportion of imports from Vietnam has also increased by nearly 2 percentage points. Vietnam's economy is currently at an important turning point. Yet in the few past years, rapid expansion driven by exports has lifted millions out of poverty. It must improve its business environment soon to remain attractive for investors. Surfing the wave isn't easy, right? In the long run, the government needs to take advantage of the industrial growth to widen its economy in order to achieve its lofty objective of turning the economy into a high-income one by 2045. Never losing hope. Vietnam will need to increase its output over the coming 10 years to keep up with the expanding needs of manufacturers' investment plans. There is a sizable labour pool available due to the youth generation, yet there is increasing competition for technical abilities. Vietnam has the best education system in the world. However, colleges and career training still require improvement. Due to a decentralized political system, investment licenses require a large number of signatures. Maybe a good time to cut out such boring red tape. The nation's infrastructure has to be upgraded before all. Conclusion. To reach its 2045 target, Vietnam will eventually have to reinvest its present growth dividend in order to foster the establishment of more efficient, knowledge-rich industries. Backbone services that add value to already established businesses and provide high-skilled jobs include banking, logistics, and legal support. The World Bank suggests lowering barriers to FDI in services, improving managerial competencies, and providing more assistance for the implementation of technology. So, Vietnam needs to do something soon, or else they'll be needlessly spending money like a gambling addict waiting for that jackpot. Did you find this video interesting? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section below, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.